Good morning to you. Welcome to Leaning In with Ann. I want to talk today about identity. Y'all are going to help me because I'm doing a conference, right? Up here at the ranch. And yesterday, so I'm at a Rare Faith conference. One book that changed my entire life was written by a woman named Leslie Householder. It's called The Jackrabbit Factor. And it's interesting because I heard the title of that book and I'm going, what is the Jackrabbit Factor? That does not sound enticing. Once I got into the book, because I met her, the author, and then I bought her book at a conference that she was at. And I'm like, whatever, I liked what she said, so I'll read this book. Changed my life. Absolutely changed my life. You know how you kind of get this vision of what other people are doing, like they're really cool. And you go, I want to be like them. And so they give you these formulas and they say, do exactly as I'm doing. And if you do, you too can be successful, Yeah. So she talks about in this allegory, it's a fiction like allegory. And the character is kind of walking along a path, kind of like I am. And he sees this guy who's going into this field. He kind of goes into this field, wandering. All of a sudden there's this rabid dog, like a dog, that is just charging at him. It's barking, it's charging, it's running at him, and then it turns around and it runs back into the field. He's like, what is going on? He sees the dog bark, jump, all that kind of stuff. And finally, it stops. And the dog comes out with a rabbit. He was chasing a rabbit. He looked totally crazy, but he was chasing a rabbit. Then there's another guy who goes into the field, starts jumping and barking just like the dog because he wants a rabbit too. Problem is, there's no rabbit. So, I know that sounds strange, but the character starts to realize that, like the reason why I'm not being fulfilled is because I'm not actually seeing my rabbit. Now, the rabbit is not the goal. The rabbit is what it looks like on the back end of the goal. That's what I'm actually teaching you every time we create. You might not have to bark in the field and be like everybody else in order to get your dreams. You can actually learn how to envision your dreams. Anyway, I teach a 3-day workshop, and I come up here. I'm going to turn this around again. I come up here to this beautiful ranch. So I teach how to connect into you, into your genius, into who you are, to what purpose you have on this earth. And you, by the way, don't have to be big and great. I've helped people who sit next to their mom 24 hours a day because they're helping with Alzheimer's. So, identity. Question for you. Do you take your identity from what people tell you are? That's rough. There's some people who tell me, it's so hard to say this and so hard to hear because I love them. They hate me. And it's family. And they don't understand me. They think that I'm doing all of this for fame and notoriety. And I'm not. So, do you take your identity from what people say you are? So, you're going to love this one. This person says that I'm trying to get disciples. That is not true. A lot of hatred. Can I adopt that and say, well, I'm just fame seeking and I'm just trying to get popular to feed my ego? Yeah, I sat in it a little bit trying to decide, is that actually who I am? And I decided it's not. So, do you take your identity from what people have said you are? What about what people say you should be? You should be kind. You should not be afraid. You should be patient. You should be. Do you take your identity from, well, I should be this. This is right. This is who I am. This is how I'm supposed to behave. Do you do that? Because that's not who you are either. Okay, what about, do you take your identity from the standard answers that sound good? Sometimes you can connect to them. But, okay, ready? Standard answers are, I'm a mom. I'm a daughter of God. I'm a son of God. Who are you? Oh, I'm a Gen Xer. Like so many labels, right? Is that who you are? Okay. Who? Do you take your identity from who you want to be? Do you say, this is what I want to be, so I'm going to push it out there, and I'm going to, make everybody think that that's who I am? Because that feels awkward. That's kind of imposter syndrome, right? Do you take your identity from what you do? So one of the things that we're doing today is that we sat in yesterday and just kind of told the story of where were you before you discovered the Rare Faith Principles? Where were you before you read Jackrabbit Factory and found out that you can create in a different way? What happened? Where are you now? And what is your passion? It was so beautiful. And everybody had a different answer about who they are, what they're doing, why they're here. Okay, inspired to talk to you about your past for a second. I don't like it when people say to me, get over it, just put it behind you, it's in the past, let it go, forget about it. I will tell you why. Because my past made me. My past is me. The experiences that I experience have made how I think, how I perceive, what I say, what I know about myself. I'm always growing. I'm always willing to look at more things, but there is definitely a past that shaped me. Are you your past, though? I had breast cancer. Triple negative breast cancer 6 years ago. I was not a cancer patient. Did I suffer the emotional trauma of cancer? I did. I did not do chemo and or radiation. Me and God walked, and I created a protocol with him that saved my life. I didn't do those other things. Now I walk. I walk, and I'm healthy, and I have no neuropathy, and I'm not anti-chemo. It's just the walk that I was supposed to do with my God, It was part of my past, and when I have to go get a test to find out if there's cancer, again, it freaks me out. My past comes to me. I have in my past betrayal. I have some pretty big betrayal. I have victimhood. Am I a victim? No, but it is part of me. This is how I separate all that stuff out. Those things that I experienced that made me who I am now are not my time zone. And I want you to really hear this. I went in, as I moved, I went into my journals. I was packing them up, and there were some journals through a very, very major betrayal that happened in my life. And I wrote every 2 to 3 days for 4 years. I hadn't read them for a while. It'd been a long time. And I went, I wonder if I'm ready. So I pulled them out. I read them. And I found myself feeling the exact same feelings as though I were transported right back into that moment. Like the fear, the despair, the hopelessness, the being really small, being irrelevant. All of it came rushing back up into my whole body, like I felt it. And somebody called me from the house they needed something. I got up, I walked into the kitchen with all of those feelings still in my body, and I started reacting to everybody as though I were right back in that moment. Not like there's any PTSD there, right? I started reacting. And it was such a flip so quickly that I checked in with God, and I'm like, hey, what's going on? Like, what do I do about this? And he said, go back, go read the journals. I'm like, I don't want to. Like, they made me ugly. It's like, go back, read the journals. Now, when I talk about this conversation with me and God, it is feelings. That's why feelings matter so much. I know what it feels like when there's a thought that's not mine. I know what that is. And so I knew what he was saying to me. So I went back and I opened up the journals. He said, now remember me. So as I read, I saw where I was supported. I saw where there's angelic help. I saw the things that people were doing to me and saying about me and lying about, and I saw God's hand. Like, for instance, I was driving kids to ballet lessons and I didn't go into the studio. I felt really, really low. I didn't want to give that energy to anybody, and I felt go to the bookstore. Now, if I could see what actually happened, there were angels by me saying, go to the bookstore. So I did. I went to the bookstore and I walk in and I go, I don't even know why I'm here. Keep going, keep going, keep going. That's what I was hearing. Stop, turn, look. And I pulled out a book that said Surviving Infidelity. Now, I didn't even know that my husband was cheating at that point. That was unseen help. He said, remember me. I was right there. It was so cool. But then, because I still had all the feelings, he said, look, this is you. It is who you are. It is what you went through. And you're precious to me. But this right here is not your time zone. If you're in Australia right now, it's different than what's going on for me. It's morning, I'm getting up. They're probably winding down and going to sleep. So even though we are simultaneously on this planet together at the same time, the time zone determines how we behave. Check in. It's okay to feel all of the feelings. It's okay to be back into panic and be back into worry and be back into fear. And none of that is wrong. None of it's wrong. My passion is to find chain breakers. Those who understand that their past has shaped perceptions. Understand that those perceptions may not be right, even though they've been passed down generationally. It's just how things are. It's how we respond. It's how we see the world. I want chain breakers. And I want to help them really break those chains of toxicity so that the relationships that already exist that may have been damaged can be healed. The ones that haven't even come into being yet can be whole. I have a passion for helping people connect to who they are so that they can become all that they set out to be. And I mean that. I want you to consider today, you lived before you came to this earth. You did. You lived with a Father in heaven who loved you and who wants to give you your choice. He values choice above all things. He can't violate it. He ceases to be God if he forces anything. Satan and his minions, they'll force. They just jump into your space. They don't care. But you have to invite God. He can't violate that. So there was a moment before you came to the earth. I totally believe that we sat down and he said, all right, we're going to do this thing, right? This is what you want? I said, yeah, this is what I want. Okay. The entire history of the world, there's so much to be had, so much to do, so much to experience. Hey, Anne, what would you love? What would you love? I probably told him that I wanted to have impact. That I wanted to help people who didn't know who he or his son was, to find them in shame-free, real connection. See, that's a passion of mine. And what I know about passions is passions are what you wanted most. And then he just sets up opportunities and situations and people that make that happen. Now, he can't violate choice. So if there's somebody in your way who chooses off, if there's somebody who has stepped off of their trajectory, he can't change that. And it may gunk you up. may cause you some pain, but he's got a savior. He's got a son who can help you through pain, help you through your own choices when you didn't align with your own stuff. So we'll talk more about this another time, but who you are, I'll tell you who knows. I'll tell you who really knows who you are. God. God knows. He knows who you are from eternity to eternity. He knows. So I encourage you today to check in and say, hey, who am I? Like, who was I before I came? Who am I as I walk this planet? It's not what I'm doing. Who am I to you? When you find out who you are to God, you become really peaceful and grounded. Now, some of you have been told that you've disappointed God. You haven't shown up this way, you haven't shown up that way, and there's guilt manipulation and there's shame manipulation to get you to do what humans want you to do. I stand to tell you, they are wrong. You may have consequences, meaning there are results for things that you did, but you have not disappointed God at all. He created a world for you to explore in, and you get to choose what you want to experience while you're here. He's there to help you. So, I can't wait to go talk to these people. It's not going to be quite as spiritual as today. But, what is their passion? Why are they here? Why do they want to teach people to step into their genius, be exactly who they are, and how to find what the next step is into that? So that's what the workshop does. It connects us into our problem. What do we believe? It helps us challenge why the belief is there. It talks about how to rewrite some of those patterns, how to move forward, how to come up with a plan, how to know what your next step is. I have multiple geniuses. I have multiple life missions. Which one am I on today? If I had not taken Genius Boot Camp, I would not be walking and talking right now, because it gave me the framework of when panic comes up, when I don't know what to do or how to do it, when I feel insignificant and too small, when I take a step forward and something smacks me down and puts me 2 steps back. I know now what to do to hold tight to what my passion is. I know how to handle it when I get derailed. I know how to believe in it when everybody else doesn't. They tell me it's not possible. That's Genius Boot Camp. So, I would love for you to join me. If you're not ready for that, watch some of these other videos, find out what I talk about, and I invite you to step into a Joyful Heart Masterclass with me. It's a 3-month mentoring program, but unlike this where you guys watch, I get to talk to you. We get to do Zoom. We get to Zoom with others who are trying to find joy, who want the connection, because we can think, here's the thing, we can think all of the good things, and we can try to think our way into affirmations and all of the, I can do this, and I am this, and I am that. But if you can't feel it, you're just throwing stuff into the air. What I hear most often is that people will say the affirmations, but they've got the yeah buts. I am powerful. I am successful. Yeah, but I got $5 in my account. I am peaceful. Yeah, but I just screamed at my kids. And so, Joyful Heart Mastery teaches how to master the heart in wholeheartedness. That, teamed with the thought patterns that you hear all the law of attraction stuff about, right? Connecting with God. Guys, life is so incredibly beautiful. I'm going to spin this around. There's the sun. It showed up. It's so beautiful. All right, I just want to say thanks for being here. I really mean it. I have been up here multiple times. I have never gotten up early enough to exercise before I do a thing. But because there are those of you who show up, I show up. So You're helping me, I'm helping you. That's how life is supposed to be. So thanks for being here. Hey, is there anything you would love for me to talk about? One heart at a time, one little video at a time, one human at a time. That's how I like to do it. So come into my space. Let me walk with you through a very safe, judgment-free, holy, not woo-woo, beautiful transformation into a higher part of yourself. All right. Love you. I will see you tomorrow.